Doors wide open for you, but the good news is the set remains intact.
Thanks again, team. Look forward to seeing you next time on The Chase Australia.
Tonight in 7 News, bikie violence erupts, shots fired and a man bashed at an Archerfield business. Exclusive pictures.
More than 800,000 Australians out of work as unemployment surges to a 20-year high.
First on 7, staff run for their lives as a drug-fuelled driver goes on a rampage at a Sunnybank servo.
Grandparents rejoice. Children can visit nursing homes again, but concerns as Victorian COVID cases spike.
Reopening the Brisbane River to the public, first look at new plans.
Creepy creatures of the deep just off the Queensland coast.
Who, me? The moment police catch up with a 3-year-old boy who crashed a car into the neighbour's house.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Sharyn Ghidella and Max Futcher.
Good evening. Bikie violence has erupted in Brisbane's south. Gunshots rang out through Archerfield as an ambush almost turned deadly.
The target was a former senior bandito who survived but didn't escape unscathed.
A high-ranking bandito in bandages, Mario Vosmeyer, left bloodied and beaten after an afternoon ambush in Archerfield.
He's just got a laceration at the back of the head, but he's conscious, alert and refusing transport.
7 News has been told the former club president had just pulled up at his Beatty Road car sale business with his wife around 1 p.m, where he was jumped by a man claiming to be a member of rival gang the Comancheros. The 61-year-old crash-tackled the suspect and was repeatedly beaten with the butt of a handgun during the struggle as shots rang out. Vosmeyer's wife was also fired upon as she tried to flee but escaped injury. Witnesses say up to 20 rounds were discharged from the silenced automatic weapon, damaging several vehicles.
As you can see, it's a police incident, so they'll be dealing with it from here on in.
7 News understands the gunman arrived with a woman and had initially asked Vosmeyer if he could buy a car before pulling out that firearm.
Someone is like, been assaulted and all, and you see all the copper cars here. It's just like, very scary.
Vosmeyer was treated by paramedics at the scene while his family members were taken away for questioning. Mario Vosmeyer has refused to comment other than to say he is not cooperating with detectives. The Banditos and Comancheros have both been trying to consolidate a presence in Queensland in recent years, fueling the feud, the establishment of 2 new Brisbane chapters by the Banditos. Tonight, police are still looking for that gunman believed to be travelling in a late model silver Holden Commodore.
Thank you, Mac. Australia's pandemic recession has sent the unemployment rate to its highest level in 19 years. The figure for May is 7.1%, with 227,000 workers axed, taking the total number of Australians who've lost their jobs since the crisis began to 838,000. The Prime Minister says he's heartbroken and warns there's more bad news to come.
This Grim Reaper wants to scythe through politicians' jobs.
It's about time we got rid of these bastards.
Bob Catter blaming the government for killing the car industry.
Excuse my language, but I'm very angry.
As the Prime Minister delivered some grim news.
This is another very hard day.
The unemployment rate the highest in 2 decades, surging to 7.1% in May with 227,700 jobs lost. Women and the young hardest hit.
Youth unemployment is now at 16.1%.
The jobless rate highest in the states with closed borders. Western Australia, Queensland and South Australia, just a small rise in New South Wales, and in the ACT, home to the public service, the rate fell.
These are our dark times, but I can see that ray of light.
Although 830,000 people have lost their jobs since February, only 230,000 have registered as unemployed. The rest leaving the labour force because they don't believe there are any jobs. The Bureau of Statistics says if those people are counted, the real unemployment rate jumps to 11.3%, the highest since the Great Depression. Labor says more will become unemployed when the JobKeeper wage subsidy is withdrawn in September.
Businesses across the nation will collapse without this form of support.
Blaming Mr Morrison for many already being out of work.
Because the Prime Minister deliberately excluded them from JobKeeper.
People have been hit by the coronavirus pandemic.
And an economic crisis.
It is a recession we didn't have to have. It was a recession we weren't going to have.
But a recession he has to fix. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Those figures reveal 173 Queenslanders a day lost their jobs. Still, there's no move to rush the border reopening. But good news, at least for grandparents, their grandchildren will be allowed to visit nursing homes across the state.
Trish Cation is over the moon, told she'll be reunited with her 7 grandchildren.
Just the touch of them and their big smiles. No, it's just lovely.
Some aged care restrictions lifted, allowing 2 people to visit nursing homes and retirement villages at a time.
Including children for as often and as long as they like.
Residents can now leave their homes for exercise, health appointments and family gatherings of up to 20 people.
And I never realised how much they go to the doctors. It's like every day.
Service providers like hairdressers can also visit nursing homes.
But not all rules have been relaxed. Social distancing will remain in place and only visitors who've had their flu vaccine will be allowed in.
There were no new cases of COVID-19 in Queensland overnight. In Victoria, there were 18, including another protester from the Black Lives Matter rally. Victorian authorities acknowledging the prospect of a second wave.
This is far from over. We will see more positives, we will see outbreaks.
The economy suffering. 174,000 Queenslanders have lost their jobs in the last 3 months. That's 173 jobs lost a day.
And the most obvious thing is to open up the borders.
A risk southern states are willing to take. The Queensland Premier will reassess her border decision at the end of the month. Isabel Mullen, 7 News.
And Alex Lewis, social distancing will force the closure of a Gold Coast road.
That's right, Max. Southport Court is bracing for big crowds next week as it deals with a COVID-19 backlog of cases. A triage point will be set up in the car park across the road for those making a first appearance. But to ensure their safety crossing back, Hen Street will be shut to traffic between the hours of 8 a.m. and midday. The closures are due to last 3 weeks, starting Monday.
Thank you, Alex. An armed bikie is accused of going on a drug-fuelled rampage at a Sunnybank Hills service station. 2 staff had to lock themselves in a toilet after one was nearly mowed down by the madman.
It looks like the aftermath of a riot, but this is the alleged work of one man, Leonard Tolai. The rampage started around 10:45 last night. The driver of this Ford hatchback started doing donuts in the forecourt when a worker went to clean the pumps.
He just started drifting the car over here.
The employee ran inside, hiding in a staff toilet with his colleague. They watched the man through the CCTV on their phone as he allegedly rammed a bollard, got out of the car, grabbed a baseball bat and started smashing a staff car, then his own, before trying to break through the front doors, eventually shattering a window and an ice cream fridge.
And came back, hit the door.
He headed for the counter,
jumping from here and got inside.
Where Tolai is accused of stealing, then lighting a cigarette.
He's smoking over here and the cops entered into the store. We both were hiding here and he started kicking the door.
The alleged offender was taken to hospital for a blood sample and to be treated for injuries he sustained during the violent rampage. A large stash of prescription medicine was found inside the smashed car. Tolai is a Bandito bikie. The 28-year-old will face court tomorrow. Jessica Mummy, 7 News.
Another setback for international travel, with Qantas now cancelling almost all international flights until October. The airline is exploring flights to New Zealand, but its largest aircraft are destined for a desert in the US.
Qantas has a trickle of flights, 64,000 passengers in the past week, just 15% of capacity. By mid-July, it'll jump to 40% if the Queensland borders are opened.
Like most, we would call for the borders to be opened as soon as practicable, understanding we've got to look after our health.
But beyond our borders,
it's highly unlikely that the international travel will restart before the end of the year.
Some flights will go to New Zealand in a trans-Tasman bubble, but other international flights cancelled until late October. In the wake of the Qantas announcement, the airline says it will now shift much of its fleet that is stationary at airports on the eastern seaboard to the Mojave Desert in California. Normally a plane graveyard, now it will provide life support for the A380 fleet. Corrosion struggles to spread in the dry heat.
To park your aircraft in dry environments with a very dry climate, warm, no humidity.
Still circling and facing off for victory to take over Virgin, a Bain capital and Cirrus capital. That announcement is set to land soon. Steve Titmus, 7 News.
The embattled LNP president is clinging to his job tonight after a dramatic intervention in the Queensland leadership controversy from Canberra. Peter Dutton says Dave Hutchinson should resign and accused him of leaking damaging polling about Deb Frecklington.
Locked in a silent standoff with the LNP president, Deb Frecklington backed by the party's most senior Queenslander.
His position is untenable.
Accusing Dave Hutchinson of exposing the opposition leader.
For Mr Hutchinson to be involved in publicly airing polling aimed at damaging Deb Frecklington's leadership is completely unacceptable.
The resignation needed, he says, because Mr Hutchinson funds her election campaign.
And it should be done today.
She won't attack her president.
What I'm concentrating on today is holding this government to account.
Her front bench did.
Clearly, Dave Hutchinson's position is untenable.
Mr Hutchinson won't respond, but Clive Palmer did, ending conflict of interest claims for Mr Hutchinson, saying he had ended his engagement with all Palmer companies to concentrate on his role as president of the LNP. A question time gift.
Some people don't know if they're in the Liberal Party, the National Party or the Palmer Party. They can't work it out.
Deb Frecklington has stood up to the bully boys in the back room of the LNP, and she should be given credit for that.
A damaging week for the LNP, but through the noise, Deb Frecklington looks emboldened, with backing from her party room and now a key front room boy, even if she's silent.
Should he resign? Well, look, I'm not going to get distracted.
There is absolute 99% support for Deb Frecklington.
But silence from an important 1%. Patrick Lyons, 7 News.
The corruption watchdog is assessing corruption allegations involving the state government agency responsible for collecting fine debts. The CCC has confirmed that the Treasury referred the State Penalty Enforcement Registry, known as SPUR, over allegations of corrupt conduct. One matter was assessed and referred back to Queensland Treasury to deal with.
I expect the highest standards of probity and conduct from officers of the Treasury, and they understand that.
A second matter remains under assessment by the CCC. An American police officer could now face the death penalty over the shooting of a black man in a fast food restaurant car park. Disturbing new details have emerged about the death of Rayshard Brooks, including an allegation he was shot and then assaulted.
In an Atlanta car park, a fleeing Rayshard Brooks is shot twice in the back by police officer Garrett Rolfe. Prosecutors say he then walked over and kicked him as he lay dying.
The utterance made by Officer Rolfe was, "I got him."
Already sacked, Rolfe will now be charged with murder, which could mean the death penalty. A second officer, Devon Brosnan, charged with aggravated assault. He is seen standing on Brooks's body.
I think you've had too much to drink to be driving.
It was an attempted arrest that turned into a struggle.
Stop fighting! You're going to get tased! You're going to get tased!
Investigators say Brooks grabbed one of their tasers and ran, turning and firing it before Rolfe shoots him. Police lawyers argue the officer feared for his safety. Prosecutors say Rolfe knew all the taser's rounds had been fired.
We've concluded at the time Mr. Brooks was shot that he did not pose an immediate threat of death.
From the President,
I hope he gets a fair shake because police have not been treated fairly in our country.
Evidence of her dying husband being assaulted, new devastation to his widow.
I felt everything that he felt just by hearing what he went through. And it hurt. It hurt really bad.
Both men must hand themselves in by tomorrow night. In the United States, Paul Kadak, 7 News.
South East Queensland stadiums are preparing for their first crowds since March. Even for 2,000 people, it's no easy feat, as fans hold out hope to snag a golden ticket.
For Kim Lamb, the Lions are her life.
Go the Mighty Lions.
A member for 15 years, now battling for a ticket in a ballot with 30,000 others.
I've just tried to just take one day at a time and wait and see what happens.
This weekend there are 4 games across 3 stadiums, 2,000 people at each, a mix of members, sponsors, family and friends. Only the Lions have any allocated to the general public, and then it's only 100.
It's going to be awesome to have the Lions fans in there, and no doubt they're looking forward to it as well.
At Suncorp Titans Dragons, you'll be separated by 3 seats and an empty row. At the Gabba Lions West Coast Eagles, you'll sit in a checkerboard formation. And at Metricon, the Suns vs Adelaide Crows and Fremantle vs Port Adelaide, spectators will be seated on level 2 with every second row empty and 2 seats between groups. Venues contactless, cashless, and meals will come pre-packaged.
People will have to consume their food and beverage in their seat. There'll be limited spaces that they can move around.
Another thing that's changed, no autographs or selfies, with fans no longer seated in lower levels to minimise the risk. Now a push for bigger crowds. Broncos boss Paul White hoping for 10,000.
If there's 10,000 people going down to the stadium, we'll get a few of them.
Georgie Chumley, 7 News.
Today was our best chance of spotting famed white whale Migaloo cruising past the Gold Coast on his annual migration. It drew tourists to whale-watching cruises, and we joined SeaWorld on the search for a Queensland favourite.
In the deep blue, huge white splashes and plenty of playful pods. But no sign of the white whale everyone was hoping to see.
It would have been great to see Migaloo.
Shelley Long has previously 3 times.
He's just magical. He's just a mythical creature that, you know, it makes my heart swell when I think about him.
Whale watchers further south believe they did yesterday off the central and northern coast of New South Wales. He may have slipped past the Gold Coast under the cover of darkness during the night, or perhaps he's just feeling shy, but today he was nowhere to be seen.
He's very elusive. I've been whale watching for over 20 years and I've never spotted him.
His cousins showed guests on SeaWorld cruises they can still put on a show.
Well, it's not the famous white whale we were hoping to find, but no one is complaining. Seeing these giant mammals up close is spectacular.
The breaching was amazing.
And with 40,000 of the mammals heading north, there'll be a lot more yet. On the Gold Coast, Carly Madsen, 7 News.
Now to the weather, and Tony, those forecast showers arrived today.
Yes, they did, Max. They set in right on cue. A few light falls overnight, then a bit of a break before another band set in on the Gold Coast from late morning and pushed north right across the region. They've been triggered by a surge in winds along the coast. We've seen mostly light falls, most spots less than 5 millimetres. Will these showers hang around? I'll be back soon with the forecast.
Thank you, Tony. A 3-year-old has crashed his family's car into the neighbour's house. See the moment police officers confronted the little boy about the damage he caused.
What council could have given up to save curbside collection but didn't?
And a robotic submarine uncovers incredible creatures of the deep off the Queensland coast.
Back on the road again, the southeast camping and caravan boom. The free campgrounds and sites booking up fast.
Plan a weekend away.
On 7 News, coming up. 7 News, brought to you by Industry Superfunds.
I suddenly realized we're all in this together.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
It's the biggest twist in Australian TV history.
Your game is not quite at an end.
Yes! Now Australia can't wait for Sunday.
Yes!
They have no idea she's taking over. And none of them will be ready for her plot twist.
Wow. You have no idea what's coming.
The Big Brother Takeover. Sunday, 7 o'clock on 7.
Businesses are facing an overwhelming amount of information. Business Australia can help you get the answers to your toughest questions with our free business advice lines. Get the support you need at businessaustralia.com.
Meet the crew. They got their own way of betting. And this is me. I've always got the answer.
Make this NRL season one to remember. If your team leads at halftime, you win. That's right. Lead at the half and we'll pay you out straight away as a winner. PointsBet.
With health insurance from Australian Unity, you're in good hands. Get 6 weeks free and pick cover that suits you. Join hospital and extras by June 30. Search Australian Unity today. There's a glass and a half in everyone.
On now at Harvey Norman, get 20% off Microsoft Surface Pro 7, Pro X and Laptop 3. Like this Surface Pro 7 i3 128GB, now $999, saving you $250. Or this Surface Laptop 3 with the latest Intel i5 processor, now $1,359, saving $340. With 60 months interest-free available, don't miss out. Get 20% off Microsoft Surface Pro 7, Pro X and Laptop 3. On now at Harvey Norman.
If you were injured on the road, get advice before it's too late. Contact Shine Lawyers to access compensation through your superannuation.
Yeah, I've heard Shine can help.
Shine Lawyers, let's right wrong.
Let's do it, baby.
It's on, mate.
Make this Saturday one to remember. If your horse doesn't win but runs second, third or even fourth in all races at Flemington, get your money back in bonus up to $50. PointsBet.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
After many weeks closed off from the world due to COVID-19, the Governor has again thrown open the doors of Government House for an awards ceremony. Queensland is the first state to recommence investiture ceremonies, and today a group of worthy Queenslanders, including 91-year-old Emeritus Professor Raymond Specht, were able to receive their honours in person.
Curbside collections in Brisbane could be saved if Council instead culled spending on advertising on TV, in newspapers and in our letterboxes. That's the claim of the opposition, which has also launched a petition to save the suburban street pickups.
Selling Brisbane to the world cost too much, according to the opposition.
I hope that time hasn't changed.
The Lord Mayor dumping curbside collections for 2 years for a saving of $13 million. The opposition leader says the money could have been found elsewhere.
We would have cut unnecessary council advertising like this, which costs ratepayers $6.5 million a year. That would have funded essential services like curbside cleanups.
A petition to bring back curbside collections has 1,300 signatures.
Our message to the Lord Mayor is it's not too late to change your mind.
Instead, all households will be issued tip vouchers. It also costs nothing to recycle. Substation 33 repurposes electrical equipment and household appliances.
Some things are in perfect working condition or they just need a little bit of a clean up.
You can drop off or they'll pick up. In the financial tug-of-war, some suburban parks are among the big winners, such as this one at Indooroopilly, set for a major makeover, including a new playground. There'll be improvements at 15 other parks, including in Morningside, McDowell, Parkinson, Sandgate and Peggs Park at Maruka.
Oh, probably could be a bit upgraded. I think it's great the council spends money on any park in Brisbane.
The full list of new playgrounds is on our Facebook page. Laura Dimmick, 7 News.
Donald Trump's former national security advisor has dropped explosive allegations in a new book. John Bolton calls the president irrational, foolish and stunningly uninformed, claiming he believed Finland was part of Russia. Bolton claims President Trump asked China for support to win re-election and tried to intervene in foreign criminal problems as favours to dictators he liked.
I think Putin thinks he can play him like a fiddle. I think Putin is smart, tough. I think he sees that he's not faced with a serious adversary here.
The Justice Department is seeking a restraining order to delay publication. It's a moment that's left tough New Yorkers in shock. A 92-year-old woman randomly punched on the street and left bleeding. Her attacker, a career predator, has been arrested 103 times and continually set free. Geraldine has a message for him.
I think I've been a happy liberal person, and now you've changed.
absolutely changed that whole view of you. I think of you now as I'm frightened to tears of who you are.
She's now offering to pay someone to protect her on the way to the shops.
We're meant to protect the Prime Minister. Next, the moment Boris Johnson's car was shunted by his protective agents.
A grieving man pleads to be let out of hotel quarantine in Brisbane after the death of his wife.
Volunteers needed for a Brisbane trial to find a COVID vaccine.
And turning back the clock on the way we holiday, why this caravan boom is different.
What could this ordinary mum have that this billionaire wants?
Mrs. Gray.
2 families, 2 worlds. They will collide. I was never meant to be a part of his world. A man died because of you. I won't play by his rules.
She's bad business!
He can hold a life in his hands. So can I.
Between Two Worlds, this July on 7.
Hey all, Darren here. Hope you're doing okay. I'm back with another delicious, simple and affordable dinner solution for you and your family. These are my delicious Greek-style chicken wings. They're gonna feed 4 people, and you know the best part is they're coming in at under $5 a head. Great tasting dishes doesn't have to mean spending a whole heap of money. Check out these awesome value ingredients that I've just picked up to make this dish. Okay, let's get started. So I've got my chicken wings. We're gonna cut each wing into 3 pieces. Trim off any little bit of fat. Now it's time to make a simple marinade. Got some dried herbs here, some oregano, some thyme, Dijon mustard, and I've also got some rosemary. Grate in the zest of half a lemon, cut the lemon in half, save 1/2 for later on, and squeeze the juice into the marinade. Grate some garlic, some salt flakes, and some black pepper. We'll give it a stir with some light olive oil. Pour these onto the chicken wings and put these into the fridge, probably for about half an hour. Now, it wouldn't be a Greek feast without some roasted potatoes, so we're just gonna cut them into wedges. Now we're gonna add some olive oil and some salt and a few more of those dried herbs. The oven's been preheated, so I'm just gonna add these into the hot tray. I'm just gonna chop up my zucchini, put it into the same bowl that I had the potatoes in. We're gonna put this zucchini in the oven when we bake the chicken. So I've got some light Greek yogurt here, probably about 400 grams, some grated garlic, and the lemon that we saved from earlier. We're gonna grate the zest, and then we're gonna add in the juice. Next, fresh mint, yogurt sauce done, super simple. I'm gonna put it in the fridge. Potatoes, they're looking really good. We're gonna add the zucchini to the potatoes, finish them off in the oven. Chicken's out of the fridge. I'm gonna put the pieces onto an oven tray and put them into the oven. Probably gonna take about 35 minutes. Potato, zucchini cooked. This chicken is absolutely incredible. What a feast. I can't wait to dig in. And do you know what? All of this for under 20 bucks, that's gonna feed 4 people. Incredible value. For more recipes like this, head to coles.com.au. Hope you give it a go and I hope you enjoy it.
A grieving Brisbane man is being denied an exemption to quarantine at home after returning from his wife's funeral in New Zealand. It comes as the state government moves to charge international arrivals for the mandatory 2-week hotel stay.
Together for 31 years until Warren Theobald lost his wife Leanne to cancer. That was in May. She was laid to rest in New Zealand, their homeland.
We had to do 2 weeks quarantine in Auckland.
Now he's back in Brisbane and back in quarantine.
I just need to get home. I need to start the next chapter of my life to work out what I'm going to do. And I can't do it from here.
Overwhelmed by grief, he applied to Queensland Health for an exemption to isolate at home, but was denied.
No one can give me a proper explanation or reason.
Queensland Health told 7 News exemptions are only available in very limited circumstances, such as medical purposes or to avoid injury. The hotel quarantining has cost Queensland taxpayers almost $20 million.
From July 1, the state government will no longer pay the hotel bills. Instead, those forced into quarantine will have to pay for their mandatory stay.
It'll cost individuals $2,800, $3,700 for couples and $4,600 for families up to 4. The government will still pay for security, transport and logistics.
Well, what happens if you can't pay?
Queensland Health says a hardship scheme will be available. Tristan Vorius, 7 News.
Boris Johnson has been caught up in a safety scare. The British PM was being driven past protesters outside Parliament when his Jaguar was hit by a police protection vehicle. He's fine, but the repair bill won't be cheap.
Outside Britain's Parliament, a protester blocks the Prime Minister's convoy. A police protection vehicle hits the car carrying Boris Johnson. He was in the back. When his car was rear-ended, despite the jolt, the Prime Minister's office said he wasn't injured. His $100,000 Jaguar will need repairs. The protester, a pro-Kurdish demonstrator, was arrested.
The Prime Minister is wholly unscathed, and I believe that everyone else escaped safely from that situation.
A few hours before the collision here, Boris Johnson was helping to launch negotiations between Australia and the UK for a new post-Brexit free trade deal, with a particular focus on the biscuit market.
Tim Tams, how long can the British people be deprived of the opportunity to have Arnott's Tim Tams at a reasonable price?
He might have wanted a cup of tea and a Tim Tam after this. In London, Hugh Whitfeld, 7 News.
Aussie actor Ernie Dingo has defended his actions after copping a racist slur at Perth railway station. The 63-year-old grabbed the stranger by the hoodie and demanded he repeat the obscenity again to his face.
I said, say it again and give me a reason to whack you. He wouldn't say it because he was scared I caught him.
Mr Dingo says there wasn't any violence, but the man's foot slipped between the train and the platform while he was trying to get away. West Australian police aren't taking any action.
Queenslanders are being encouraged to roll up their sleeve and be a part of world-changing research. Volunteers are needed for the first human trial of the University of Queensland's COVID-19 vaccine.
If you're fit, healthy and aged between 18 and 55, Australian scientists want you.
So we need 120 fit and healthy Queenslanders.
Recruitment begins today for volunteers needed to test the safety of UQ's COVID-19 vaccine. The research run by Aussie-based company Nucleus Network.
It's a huge step in the right direction, so a lot of work has to go into a vaccine before we can give it to people, so we need to be really confident of its safety.
Volunteers will earn $2,300 for Phase 1, starting on July 13, where they'll receive 2 vaccines 4 weeks apart. Then, after collecting enough data, researchers will move on to Phase 2, where around 1,000 volunteers will be required. Then Phase 3, involving an even larger amount.
In terms of when it's actually going to be available for widespread use, it's just too hard to say.
The Brisbane-based study will now join only 12 other vaccine candidates around the world who have made it through to the clinical trial stage.
Imagine if Queensland became home to the vaccine that could save the world from coronavirus.
A dream that could become a reality. Brittany Lane, 7 News.
A woman has had a rather expensive accident slamming a supercar worth $500,000 into a pole in Melbourne. She lost control on a corner in the CBD, ramming the Aston Martin Vanquish into a safety barrier. She ran from the scene before police arrived, leaving a 27-year-old man in the passenger seat. It's understood he owns the car.
It's a project set to reshape the face of Brisbane, what the $2 billion redevelopment of Eagle Street Pier will do for jobs.
The moment a 3-year-old driver who crashed into his neighbour's house is spoken to by police.
How live streaming a deep-sea mission off Queensland led to the discovery of some amazing species.
And what's been achieved in 25 years of Tiger Island on the Gold Coast.
We want you to build an entire station from scratch.
This crew can't just be good.
Rob Lowe.
They gotta be the best.
And Liv Tyler.
You do what I say, Captain.
The new action thrill ride, 911 Lone Star, on 7.
Unpolished beauty. It defines our country, our products, our people. And at Stratco, we're proud of it. Because these calloused hands show our expertise is earned. From decades of custom crafting, roofing and cladding solutions for remarkable Australian homes. Colorbond Steel's stunning matte finish. Brought to life by Stratco. You bring the dream, Stratco will bring the how-to.
When you want to get out, dive in and reunite in a place you'll always remember. Start planning your escape now. Go to brillianttravels.com.au and register to win one of 4 Dream Island holidays. Sounds like a brilliant idea.
Buy any new or pre-owned car at the Motorama 3-day sale and you'll spin to win up to $2,000 cash. Motorama Spin to Win, new and pre-owned, must end Saturday. Moruga, Browns Plains and Springwood.
At Coles, save on delicious Greek yogurt, like the Chobani range. It's high in protein and full of flavour. And now, Chobani 170-gram pots are just $1 each. Find more weekly specials in our digital catalogue. Coles, good things, great value.
If you're thinking of cancelling with another car insurer, or you're an existing NRMA insurance customer, you can now get third-party fire and theft cover for just $10 a month.
Plush Sofa's end of financial year sale is now on. Shop in showroom or online with up to 50% off everything and 48 months interest free.
Well done, Queensland. Further restrictions have been eased. But as people participate in more activities, it's important that anyone with symptoms, no matter how mild, gets tested and stays home. Symptoms include fever, cough, sore throat, shortness of breath, loss of sense of smell, runny nose and fatigue. For further advice, contact your doctor or call 13Health. Queensland, we're in a great state, but now's not the time to let our guard down. So keep up your social distancing by staying 2 big steps away from others and avoid any unnecessary contact. For more information, visit the website.
Authorised by the Queensland Government, Brisbane.
To finance, and the share market slumped after Australia's increasing unemployment rate was revealed. The ASX 200 dropping 55 points. Mining stocks dipped with news iron ore production is set to restart in Brazil. Rio Tinto falling $1.26 and BHP losing 33 cents. The Australian dollar dropped, buying 68 US cents and $1.06 New Zealand. And drivers should hold off filling the tank for now, with cheaper petrol prices on the way. The average price of unleaded is $1.20 in Brisbane. Now to one of the cutest things you're likely to see. A Toowoomba tyke giving the best who me impression while he's getting a stern talking to from police. The 3-year-old had just accidentally crashed his dad's car into the neighbour's house. It's believed he put the car into gear and it rolled, causing a decent amount of damage.
No, Dad came following after the car, so he saw the car go and he was trying to catch it. Didn't get there in time.
The boy was cautioned. He faces a long wait before he can get behind the wheel again. It's some of the CBD's most prime riverside real estate, but the Eagle Street Pier precinct is showing its age. A much-needed makeover is now a step closer, with plans lodged for a $2.1 billion project, bringing a new look and, crucially, new jobs.
It's an 80s landmark that's seen better days.
Eagle Street Pier today was built over 30 years ago, and a lot of things have changed.
But a makeover is moving ahead, transforming the tired pier into the fresh waterfront Brisbane.
As a true city-shaping project.
Developer Dexus submitting plans to council for a $2.1 billion project, demolishing the old and delivering the new. 2 commercial towers, new retail and dining venues, additional river moorings, plus gardens and 9,000 square metres of open space.
Opening up this very special part of the city to residents to use and for tourists and visitors alike.
One of the major criticisms of the current Eagle Street Pier is its lack of accessibility. It's a choke point for people trying to make their way through here. The new development fixes all of that by opening up the space and improving access for people, pedestrians and cyclists. 280 metres long, the 6-metre wide promenade provides safe transit through the precinct.
Creating a great place to come and stop and take a photo with the Story Bridge behind you.
And at a time they're most needed, Waterfront Brisbane brings vital jobs.
1,000 jobs during construction and 900 ongoing jobs.
With council approval, work can begin next year, commencing this Riverside revitalisation. Joel Dry, 7 News.
One of Dreamworld's most popular attractions is celebrating 25 years. Tiger Island opened in 1995 with 6 big cats brought over from the US. Since then, it's been home to around 25 tigers. Staff have welcomed a number of cubs as part of a breeding program. Dreamworld also has helped raise millions of dollars for tiger conservation. Coming up, the Coral Sea's deep water reef secrets revealed, all thanks to the pandemic. Plus, you can't cruise or fly overseas, how Queenslanders are turning back the clock on caravanning holidays. And the dog that bit off more than it could handle rebounds well.
And our footballers need to rebound, Pat.
Understatement, Sharyn, yes. Hello, everyone. Queensland's 3 NRL sides are under pressure. The league is coming up next, with the Cowboys conspiring to take the heat off their coach. A different story for our AFL sides, both the Lions and Suns aiming to enhance their perfect restart.
Unbeaten for 52 weeks, but after one close call,
It's a draw.
is their number finally up? Will the Tigers slip up?
Look out.
When the Hawks know that an upset is on the cards. Then tomorrow, when the Giants take on the Bulldogs, all hell will break loose. 2 blockbuster clashes start with Thursday night footy on 7, mate.
Hi mate, what have you been up to?
Not much. I miss you guys, and I miss you cooking.
I don't miss a thing. I got the new Woolies Rewards app.
Get everything in one place. Track your points and personalised offers to save even more.
That's why I pick Woolies.
Why don't you come? Why don't you come? Pleasure's all mine, never getting old. If you're looking for me, I'll be dancing in my own way.
Tough times don't excuse tougher times at home. Even in crisis, there's no place for abuse or domestic violence. If you're worried about your actions or relationship, help is available online and by phone 24/7. For free confidential advice and counselling, contact Men's Line. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Hi, it's Brendan Nottle from the Salvos. For 140 years, we've stood with Australians in crisis. Today, as we all rise to the challenge of this heartbreaking time, the Salvos are doing all they can to ease the pain and find a way through for the people hardest hit. You can play a powerful role. If you're able, please go to salvationarmy.org.au and give to the Red Shield Appeal now. Together, we can do this.
Design, performance, exceptional value. A Mazda stands out. At the Mazda Standout End of Financial Year event, get a Mazda CX-3 Neo Sport from $23,990 drive away. Search Mazda offers now.
Build a better Hamptons home for less with Clarendon Homes. Enjoy a 5-bedroom and 5-living-zone Hampton-style home from just $249,800 with Aspire inclusions. Hurry, limited time only.
Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's time to play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
Did someone say KFC?
The Sports Report brought to you by KFC. Get your KFC contact-free today.
There are reports tonight that the embattled Rugby Australia is trying to lure Broncos boss Paul White as its new CEO. That's while Queensland's NRL sides are facing a critical round where they could easily lose touch with the 8. The Cowboys have an extra spur, with critics putting coach Paul Green in the crosshairs. At least Green's troops are copping the blame. He wasn't the one missing tackles last week. 5 times they conceded tries on the 5th.
We defend so well, and then right up until that last play, it's almost like we switch off, and that's when they're scoring the points.
They've circled the wagons.
It's a bit of a pack mentality. Like, if they're coming at one of your members, then you have to stick up for them as well.
It gets no easier for the Cowboys. They face 5 of the top 6 sides before July ends. For the second straight week, the Broncos headed south under pressure. Pangai Jr.'s back, promising he's a changed man, a player no longer targeted by match reviewers. Still, defeat against Newcastle and its 4 straight losses. The Storm's worries are long-standing. Again, pundits are mauling their decorated skipper on his 37th birthday.
They haven't really played the game. They haven't coached the game. All of a sudden, they're experts.
Wrestling tactics, his age, his influence over referees, all fodder for critics.
I might be a bit weak doing this. At the end of the day, I'm not going to tell Cameron Smith when he should be retiring.
As Smith awaits game 417, game 146 is still to come for ex-Bronco James Roberts after his stint in rehab.
We're just in a situation where we just don't want to risk him right now. We don't want him to come back underdone and then not play well and struggle from that point onwards, and and then he opens himself up to a lot of criticism.
And the Dragons have confirmed they're willing to release veteran James Graham to UK Super League. St Helens need to replace Bulldogs-bound prop Luke Thompson, and Graham's top of their wish list. The Lions have lost their muscle in the middle, with ruckman Steph Martin ruled out of Saturday's Gabba blockbuster against West Coast. But it's another member of the leadership group who should have a big influence on the result.
It's easy to see why Harris Andrews is earmarked as Brisbane's next captain. The All-Australian defender leads the comp in intercepts, but it's never about him.
Really thankful for guys like Diaz and Ryan Lester, who do an awesome job of holding their man out and then allowing me to sort of come across and probably get a little bit of over-the-top glory.
Steph Martin's injury gives Archie Smith the crack in game 100 for Andrews. Playing in front of mum and dad, an unexpected highlight, and he didn't miss the difference fans in the stands made in Adelaide.
2,000 people was pretty loud. I don't know whether it's because there's less people in the stadium and the sound echoes or what, but it's going to be awesome to have the Lions fans in there, and no doubt they're looking forward to it as well.
Suns young gun Matt Rowell's only 97 games behind him. The 18-year-old's coach all but daring the Crows to tag the rising star on Sunday.
He'll probably enjoy it. That's the type of guy he is. I think he plays the game on his merits, more than I've seen anyone, and he's in his second, third game.
Having a documentary crew follow the coach helps with accountability and expectation.
Our time is now. We're more than capable. We're not here to just compete and do all the fluffy stuff. We're here to win.
In the UK, an embarrassing blunder's forced to please explain from the maker of the Premier League's goal line technology. Malfunctioning during a scoreless draw, it denied Sheffield United the match winner over Villa.
It's not even close, it's miles in. It's his own players nudged him over the line. That's miles over the line. Surely someone's got to be looking at that.
Ben Davis, 7 News.
Cricket Australia has already started the hunt for a new CEO as an unlikely contender emerged. Legendary England skipper Sir Andrew Strauss. He's no stranger to Australia or our players.
Just days after Kevin Roberts was let go, an unlikely frontrunner for Cricket Australia's top job. South African-born former England batsman Sir Andrew Strauss. Known to most Aussies for his uncompromising style while captaining England to 3 Ashes series wins, including the 2010 showdown on Australian soil. Now reports the 43-year-old has been approached and is interested in the job.
Bit hard to come across a POM running Australian cricket, but if he's the right guy, he's the right guy.
Can you imagine an Australian going over and running the ECB? I don't.
National coach Justin Langer today coy about the chances of a former combatant becoming his boss.
We're going to hear all sorts of names come up. Whoever is in that role will have my absolute support.
They're trying to think outside the square, meaning outside of Australia, and there has been an approach made to Sir Andrew Strauss.
Interim CEO Nick Hockley, along with former Australian women's wicketkeeper Christina Matthews, also in the running. Cameron Price, 7 News.
Big night in the AFL tonight across on 7, mate.
Oh, very good, very exciting. All right, thank you, Pat. A team of Queensland scientists has helped discover a strange world of bizarre sea life off the coast of Cairns without leaving their living rooms. They teamed up with the world-renowned Schmidt Ocean Institute to capture remarkable sights from the deep on an expedition that only happened because of the pandemic.
From out of the murk floats one of the strangest creatures you're likely to see. It looks alien, but this organism shares Earth with us. In fact, it lives just off the Queensland coast.
The deeper parts of which we had virtually no understanding of what lived down there.
A robotic submarine launched from research vessel Valcor has spent the past few weeks combing the deep water coral communities east of Cairns, mapping the sea floor and revealing sea life not known to live in Australian waters.
Oh, here we go. This is a nice view. Oh, they have this beautiful swimming motion.
The expedition streamed real-time video around the world to an audience of scientists, all isolated by the pandemic, who helped identify the different species from their living rooms.
Grumpy coffinfish.
The submarine, called Sebastian, went well beyond a kilometre down.
It's almost fully transparent.
When they fully analysed the findings, some of these life forms may be entirely new discoveries.
We're looking at about 3 or 4 new fish species. They will have to get new names.
The expedition only happened off Queensland after the pandemic forced the closure of ports in PNG. A discovery of wonder made quite by chance. John Ross, 7 News.
Incredible there.
Amazing.
Yeah. Sunrise is back in the morning. Here's what's coming up.
Thanks, guys. Tomorrow on Sunrise, Australia's lucky lotto numbers.
Can you pick which ones win the most? See you tomorrow, Queensland.
Next, hitch up the caravan. How to enjoy a Queensland road trip without breaking the bank. Free camping sites. Quickly booking out.
And how's the weather looking if you're camping this weekend? I'll have the forecast coming up next.
The total picture, the full story, the answers you need. Every night, turn to 7 News at 6 o'clock.
The tables are being set, lights turned on and doors opened. Australia, it's time to support local businesses to help restart our economy. Businesses are putting their COVID-safe plans into action. So if you want to get out there and stay out there, be COVID-safe too by doing the 3. That way you can ensure the safety of yourself, others around you, and do your bit to keep our businesses open. So as you're getting back out there, get back out there COVID safe. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Find a fantastic new look for your home at the Fantastic Sale. Don't miss great prices on sofas, dining sets, kids' furniture and heaps more. These low prices won't last, so hurry. Shop online or in-store today. The Fantastic Sale is on now.
Kill bacteria that can cause sore throats fast with Betadine Sore Throat Gargle. Or treat and relieve with new Betadine Gargle and Lozenges Kit.
Wish you had internet that didn't let you down? That doesn't leave you hanging and won't have you missing any of the action? Get Vodafone NBN with 4G backup. Plans start from just $55 a month. And with free express delivery, connect instantly once you receive it. Buy online today at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
If you're road tripping, RACQ has you covered. More Queenslanders trust us to insure their cars and come to their rescue with 5 levels of roadside assistance. Plus, members save on fuel and more. Get yourself road trip ready with RACQ.
We miss you. Come for dinner. Oh no. We're getting Hungry Jack's delivered.
Feed the family. Get Hungry Jack's Flame Grilled Whoppers delivered now on Uber Eats or Menu Lock. Hungry Jack's Delivery. The burgers are better.
Well, there he is. Superfood, super salmon, full of omega-3, protein and also super good looking. Now only $10.99 a 4-pack. Okay, that's just showing off. Aldi. Good. Different.
Is So Good Almond Milk the better milk for you? It's dairy-free and full of calcium. So Good Almond Milk is packed with vitamins, and unsweetened varieties have no added sugar. Feel good inside and out and make today so good.
What do you think?
You need some help. Hey, fellas, come here for a minute. You need to create something really special. Create some theatre. Cook something Sarah loves.
I didn't check the gas.
Don't worry about it. I ordered it yesterday. It's out the front now. Hi, Gareth.
For next day LPG delivery, go to origin.com.au/localgas. Call 133LPG or go online now for an instant quote and a great price.
3 unmissable weeks of genuinely sizzling drama.
I've had no choice but to take the law into my own hands.
You miss Scarlett and the Duke, tonight on 7/2.
I used to think that my parents had an epic love story.
Don't know if the marriage can be saved.
I felt like he gave up on us. It's over.
Just look me in the eye, tell me that you don't love me, and I'll walk away.
Home and Away, weeknights on 7.
This weather report brought to you by your local Origin LPG team.
We have some sad breaking news now. Dame Vera Lynn, one of the great wartime entertainers, has passed away. She was hugely popular for her uplifting anthems during World War II, like We'll Meet Again, The White Cliffs of Dover and There'll Always Be an England. Dame Vera Lynn was 103. The other top stories: around 20 gunshots have been fired during a targeted attack on a former Bandidos bikie boss at Archerfield. Australia's unemployment rate has risen to 7.1%. The Prime Minister saying he's heartbroken by the number. And aged care residents will be allowed 2 visitors at a time as more coronavirus restrictions are lifted. It's a throwback to a simpler time when air travel was expensive and a family holiday meant hitting the road. With planes grounded and borders shut, Queenslanders are shrugging off their COVID blues and getting back behind the wheel.
It's the real estate on wheels that's become the hottest property in town.
With all the overseas trips canned, as well as cruise ships canned, caravanning's been probably hot on their list. So the moment our gates reopened, they were in here looking at what they could purchase.
The upcoming school holidays tipped to be the busiest in years, with 80% of respondents to a Caravan Industry Association survey saying they'd like to take a trip in the next 2 months.
We're heading out into a lot of the smaller towns. We spend a little bit of money out there and help them.
Powered side occupancy around Queensland caravan parks increased by 60% last week, while free sites at Little Yabba Creek at Montville and the Mount Joyce Base Camp on Wyaralong Dam near Bow Desert are expected to draw a crowd, especially for first-timers.
Our brand new products start at less than $20,000 for a wind-up camper trailer.
In the last 8 weeks, we've sold 5 motorhomes, or delivered 5 motorhomes, with another 6 on order, and 4 of these trucks as well.
A sign more people than ever are keen to hit the road to recovery. Kendall Gilding, 7 News.
Well, if you think your dog eats everything in sight, this Labrador may have outdone your pooch. 18-month-old Brax was appearing unwell, so his family took him to the local vet, where they made the shock discovery he'd swallowed a tennis ball.
They did an ultrasound and they said they could see the ball was just floating around, stuck in his stomach.
Brax underwent surgery to remove the ball, and he's now back at home with his family and being served up far more palatable food. Oh, Brax. Weather now, Tony. Will these wet conditions hang around?
Max, yes, we will have a few showers around tomorrow and through the weekend, but there'll still be plenty of dry breaks too. Today, though, it really picked up through the middle of the day. Beforehand, a bit of sunshine, this stunning sunrise taken down at Manly. Falls mostly lighter, though a couple of spots on the northern Gold Coast recorded over 25 millimetres. And checking the temperatures, still managing to push above the June average for most spots today. That's thanks to a bit of sunshine this morning, as we've seen. 17 overnight, a top of 22 degrees on the Gold Coast, 15 to 24 in Brisbane. Some cooler minimums inland. Zooming out, our showers are thanks to a surge of winds moving along the southeast Queensland coast. Tomorrow, more onshore winds remain, so passing showers remain possible. This front also moves towards Victoria, and it's still tracking to bring us a cold change early next week. Around the capitals, Hobart warms up. It was less than 9 degrees there today, up to 13 tomorrow. I'm happy to live in Queensland, rather. Now back to northern Queensland, a few drops hanging around Cairns and Mackay. That's thanks to strong trade winds blowing onto the coast. In the south, showers running from Gympie to Harvey Bay, then wrapping around the corner towards Bundaberg, maybe as far north as Gladstone. Across the southeast, more fleeting showers. Nothing too heavy, enough to turn on the windscreen wipers now and then. Not necessarily bringing soaking rain for the garden. They will move through quickly. A little bit cooler, tops of 21 or 22 degrees right across the suburbs. All spots here staying into double figures overnight. On the water, winds easing a touch, southeast to 20 knots early, then east-southeast below 15 knots from late morning. Still a bit of swell around, but onshore winds won't help surfers. So in Brisbane, the Bureau says a possible shower, but for once, I think this might actually be a little bit underdone. Don't be surprised if there are a few brief passing showers, especially in the morning. Again, they'll be fairly light, 14 up to a top of 22 degrees. That's close to average for this time of year. Then into the weekend, it picks up a little bit again, especially overnight Saturday into Sunday. We're looking at tops of 21 and 23 degrees. In Ipswich, where you could also see the odd shower on the weekend, then cooling and breezy conditions on Monday, even colder mornings and stronger winds into Tuesday especially. Gold Coasters, you can also expect a drop in temperatures next week. Coldest conditions on Tuesday, 19 degrees. There'll be a noticeable wind chill as well. And on the Sunshine Coast, a couple of showers over the weekend. Then it's time to pack away the brolly and dig out the winter woolies.
It's getting cooler. All right, thank you, Tony. Here's what's coming up in 7 News tomorrow night.
Paid to drop your kids to school. Up to $100 a week. The School Zones, where you can claim. Only on 7 News tomorrow.
And that is all from us this Thursday. Thanks very much for your company.
The latest from 7 News coming up tonight at 10:40. From all the team, have a good night.
Good night.
Groceries.